One of the main reasons that we men struggle with vulnerability is because when we share something vulnerable, we're often shamed for it. I'm fucking really upset right now because I just put out a podcast. The podcast is titled How Porn Ruined My Intimacy. And I sent this email out to my subscriber list to let people know that this podcast is out. And in this podcast, I talk about my deeply personal experience with what I call a mild porn addiction many, many years ago, long before I met my partner, and why I gave up cold turkey pornography because of the effect that it was having on my body, my mind, my relationships. And anyway, so I sent this email out after, giving my heart and soul to this podcast and really sharing from a vulnerable place. And within 30 minutes, I got back an email from someone, a woman, could have been a woman, man, doesn't matter. But this is what she said. And she didn't listen to the podcast. What she said is this: sorry you went down that path, but now I need to unsubscribe. As you do know, much of this is in the world of sex trafficking minors, right? So whether you participate in person or virtually, you are indeed sick and need help. Sent from my iPhone. That was the message. That is so offensive. That is so dismissive of me sharing from a vulnerable place. She didn't even listen to the damn podcast. She didn't even read the email in which I sent it. In the podcast, I acknowledge the role of sex trafficking is one of the reasons that us men need to seriously consider not consuming porn. But also, my whole message is about how pornography, the first line in this email is pornography, like a silent killer living in your home, can destroy intimacy without ever being acknowledged. I'm not writing in favor of pornography. I'm sharing some deeply heartfelt in that short email. Anyway, I'm pissed because this is the thing that fucks men up over and over and over again. That just makes it so fucking hard for us to then come out and share vulnerably because we're shamed when we do. We're told, what? I'm sick and need help. So anyway, I want to call that out. Look, we men have to feel safe to talk about the things that we don't feel safe to talk about if we're going to heal these wounds. We need partners that have boundaries, but we need not to be shamed for certainly when we're revealing our vulnerabilities. Man, one of the things that I say in this podcast episode right up front is I don't believe at all for a second in sexually shaming anybody. This whole podcast and this exploration is just really a deep, honest look into what my experience was many, many years ago in my late 30s, how that affected my body, and what I learned along the way, and all the reasons why, again, I think men especially really need to strongly consider giving up pornography. I give 5 warning signs that it is not serving you or your relationship, present or future. So anyway, I just wanted to put this little PSA, public service announcement into the world that, man, when a man is sharing his vulnerability, don't call him sick and tell him he needs help. That's just fucked up. So anyway, PSA done. Some bullshit. And if you want to listen to this episode, swipe up. And by the way, I got some other messages of gratitude and thanks and all of that. But I just had to call this out because that's some bullshit.